I'm ranking every TF2 map released in the year 2008 to see how they still hold up today. I have to warn you though, this is going to get subjective. I'm going to be going in the order the wiki lays these things out, and we're going to be taking a look at all of them. Except for arena maps. Yeah, if I can't play them to judge them for this video, they're not gonna be on the list. And most of you probably haven't even played these maps in a vanilla arena mode game, and most of them are underwhelming versions of maps that are already gonna be on the list, so sorry. We've got 7 maps to get through, starting with Capture the Flag Well. It's gonna be hard not to compare the Capture the Flag version of Well to its Control Point counterpart. My general opinions on both versions of the map are mostly the same. I really like the visuals for this map, specifically the outside section with the golden sunlight dawning the area. It looks great here, and it's no surprise that this would become a defining archetype for TF2's art style for years to come. In terms of gameplay though, how does this version hold up against the Control Point version? I mean, I'll be honest, I played this one substantially less than its Control Point variant. I feel like it's notably harder to get into a game of Capture the Flag Well compared to its counterpart, but honestly, it plays like you'd expect. It's a Capture the Flag map. It's substantially slower paced, and if there's an engineer with the Wrangler in the intel room, it slows the game down even further. The intel room at least still has the funny side scaffolds though. That being said, if you watched me talk about the other version of Well in my 2007 ranking video, you'd know that my favorite part of the map is Midpoint, and I hate to report, it is completely removed from this version and replaced with something far more bland. I feel like a large part of the original's identity was lost with this change. The terrain just kinda loses some of its texture. Still got some of the best aspects of this map though, like trains, the water, and the clever use of verticality, albeit to a lesser extent with the changes to mid. Plus, it's still Capture the Flag. You can do whatever you want, as long as you want. Sometimes I just want to stand in this window and shoot you and snipe you. And if I want to do that all day, I can still do it. Point is, if you prefer a less organized TF2 experience, you might actually prefer this version of the map. But for me personally, subjectively, like I said, this one falls a bit short compared to its Control Point counterpart in my opinion. It's just that some of my favorite aspects of the other map were completely lost in this version. I'm feeling C tier. It's fun if you can find a full game, as uncommon as that might be, but it really just makes me want to play its Control Point alternative for a more objective based and focused experience. Badlands. There's a lot to like about Badlands. Out of all the Control Point maps, I feel like this one is the most played and arguably the most iconic. It's all fast-paced, and every area of the map rewards a high skill ceiling of the game's most basic mechanics, especially movement. The use of these 2 elevated platforms is so subtle, but it adds so much depth to mid-fights. They can assist in either attacking or defending the point, whether you use them for high ground or for cover. This map also has some really cool rocket jumping rollouts on it. I like them a lot. That's really neat, really cool use of movement and all. I can't do them though, because I'm really bad. Speaking of rocket jumping, Spire. I love how these look. They help the map visually stand out and make it more memorable. As for how Spire plays, I love it. When I'm playing Scout, Soldier, Pyro, or Demo. Yeah, classes that lack conventional vertical mobility options tend to be notably weaker on this point. Now, okay, I get it. Not every class has to be good in every scenario, but with a map that moves along as quickly as this one does, I find myself slowly crawling up this goddamn spire until I'm 80 years old, and then getting fetty-whopped by a pocket fucking try-hard dickwads old. Last notoriously caps very quickly, but it's tucked near spawn, and to get there you have to push through a lot of very tight corridors, so it never feels too difficult to defend. That being said, I've never been a fan of these tight spaces. They make it unfun to both defend and attack the final point. A problem that isn't in its counterpart. But we'll get there when we get there. Let's give it a B tier. I really like how fast-paced this map can be, and the variety of geometry is very nice, even if I don't like every single little bit of it. It's still fun, and it's still very unique. Gold Rush. Starting off hot, the first thing I think of when I think of this map are some of the ridiculous choke points and how good fucking spam is here. Many people have said this map is the Dust Bowl of payload, and they're not entirely wrong. The difference though is that with Dust Bowl at least, you have the freedom to attack the objective in whatever route you want. If the card on Gold Rush, however, is stuck somewhere horrifically inconvenient for blue team, then they're just kinda fucked. I'd like to cut it some slack since it was very clearly designed at a time where not only was the presence of unlockable weapons severely limited, but also the general meta of TF2 was way less developed and people were generally just not as good at the game. But at the same time, other maps released around this period still hold up, even if it's in spite of the way the map was designed when it comes to playing the objective. Being a 3-stage map, I'd love to go in depth into each stage, but honestly, they all have the same fucking issue. The first point is relatively easy and only there to waste blue's time, and the second point answers the question, how painful is it to pass a kidney stone? Oh, would you look at that? But it's not all bad. I actually really like the second stage. It feels the most interesting to push on since blue is given the entire upper area to mess around with, and playing on red and having to defend 3 entrances feels pretty fun. C tier. Honestly, the map doesn't really bother me as much these days. I generally still see blue making it to at least the final point from time to time. It's just that getting there is mostly a slog, but with a couple of fun twists and turns along the way, I suppose. Turbine. I think out of every map in the game, this is the one that has aged the worst for me personally. I can recall playing Turbine for hours when I was much younger, but today I can't justify playing it in the same way for the same amount of time. This also falls into the same pitfall as Two Fort, where playing the objective is absolute dog water. Capping the intel is a sin. The corridors leading to the intel room are so cramped, and one of them is just straight up near the enemy spawn. I will say though, coming back to record footage of this map, I had a good bit of fun. It doesn't have the same magic as Two Fort, sure, but I'll be damned if I don't have some adrenaline-inducing scout fights on mid. Matter of fact, that's all I ever got out of this map, which I just want is just scouts. You get these highs of squad wiping the entire team at the speed of light, 2003 Kurt Angle, god damn! I literally just want to play scout and deathmatch on mid, and you know, anything that gets in the way of that makes me unfathomably sad. With that said, do you get the occasional fun moment? Yes, but that fun is ruined so easily. Like, what am I even supposed to do against a sentry? You could maybe swap to another class or defend the intel, but oh shit, well, I forgot the map fucking sucks. Now that's a problem, isn't it? Cramped hallways, cramped air vents, very basic geometry. Like, goddamn, you could draw this in Microsoft Paint in 5 seconds. I get it, this is a really early community created map, and this is gonna sound like the biggest crock of shit you've ever heard in your life, but I swear to God, I have had times where I genuinely feel ill after playing this map for too long. All of this leaves me feeling kind of conflicted. I thought this was going to be really low ranked, but there's still some fun I can have on it. So I guess I have to give it a D tier. I can't lie and say it's the worst map in the game or whatever, but if you want to have some goofy deathmatch experience, just play Two Fort, honestly. Fastlane. This is one of the first community created maps added to TF2 alongside Turbine, and it shows. Just gonna dive in here. The visuals are really rough in some spots. It is really easy to see areas outside of the map that are floating because the skybox is fucked. Some people may not have noticed that, but I definitely have due to how bland the rest of the map looks. It's another Dusty Dunes desert map. The Gulch. I'm parched. I need some water. So not much visually stands out here outside of the fuck-ass funky twisted skybox shit. But what about the gameplay? It's fine. Standard control point gameplay, honestly. Sometimes games go by really quickly, sometimes things stall out because of one sentry on last. Also, there was apparently a different version of Fastlane than when it got released versus today. And I can't find anything about the old version, though. Guys, I'm gonna be so fucking real. I don't know what else to say about fucking Fastlane. It is a really forgettable map, like in every sense of the word. It feels like the grandfather of workshop slop. Actual textbook example of one of the maps of all time. The definition of a C tier. There's not much going on here, but it's not like it's offensive or anything. I can still have some fun, but in a game with an ever-expanding map pool, there's no reason to play or, fuck it, even really talk about this map. Steel. I have this vague memory of not liking Steel for the longest time, and thinking everyone else unanimously disliked this map like 12 years ago or something, I don't know. Anyways, the map is really good. What a great gimmick this one has. I mean, being able to cap last, the only point needed to win the game at any time, changes the dynamic of team fights drastically. While your team is fighting the good fight across the map, it's a perfectly viable strategy to continuously launch yourself at last. Even if you'll never capture the point this early in a million years, most of the time Red feels compelled to send 2 or more people to deal with whoever's there. Which means Blue team is essentially trading 1 guy on their team for 2 guys on Red whenever this interaction happens. It's a perfect disruptor that I've genuinely seen make an impact on games. I get some really balanced games out of Steel as well. I think I've had a game of Steel end at almost every point, which for 5 points is a real achievement. There's a lot going on visually, which creates a lot of noise, but most of the play area is unaffected, and I generally take a liking to the way Steel looks. Oh yeah, they also changed the layout of this map after it had been in the game for years and years. I don't think I really played enough Steel back in the day to notice the difference between now and then. It kind of just makes me feel like playing Mario 64 when you're older. Like, ooh, every copy of Steel is personalized, ooh. The one thing I tend not to like, however, is the enclosed chokes, and how they can lead to some very spammy and sometimes boring lulls in the game. I get that you need to have slower paced moments in the game, but this map already has some slower moments, especially near the gates after capping B. I also think some new players do have a hard time learning the map, which isn't inherently a problem, but at the same time, there's nothing more infuriating than when your team won't stop pushing E, or when you could be making progress elsewhere, or when E is getting capped and nobody else is doing the goddamn thing about A tier. This one's aged really well in my eyes. Every game feels different after playing hundreds and hundreds of times, and the dynamic gameplay is so welcome in a sea of formulaic attack/defend maps. Badwater. Oh man, I might ruffle a couple diapers with this one. I have played so much Badwater. Everyone fucking has. I mean, don't get it twisted. We love some Badwater. Let me start with saying what I like. One of the strongest aspects of Badwater is just how many different options Blue has to get to the cart. For the most part. There's a multitude of paths available from different elevations. For the most part. And yet, in spite of that, defending doesn't feel impossible either due to the multitude of options classes like Engineer have to place a sentry gun. For the most part. Or the fact that with most routes Blue can take to bypass the chokes, Red has an advantage on. For this flank here, multiple classes can use some of their movement options to hop the railing and enter. Yet every class on Red can easily reach this same spot. A lot of really smart map making decisions like this allow the map to feel dynamic and freeing on Blue, but not impossible for Red to defend. The visuals are strong and polished too. Forget respecting the game's art style, this map is the game's art style. So what knocks it down a peg, you may ask? What's the problem? What's the one part of the map that I don't like? What's the one issue with this fucking stupid map that I really don't like? It's the second point. I hate the second point. You have that nasty ass fucking sightline for snipers on this point, which mercilessly barrels its way through choke. The sentry spot on the roof is a fucking nightmare. The most viable option for Blue is to take the flank. I mean, like, going through this choke it's fucking Sisyphus work, I swear to God. The only time I have fun on this point is when Blue caps it instantly. The choke is cramped, the sentry spots are predictable, there's a ton of play area nobody ever fucking uses. It's bad, I hate it, it's not good, and I don't like it. This, of course, is just one point. I really, really like every other part of this map, including last, which seems to get a bad rep these days for being difficult to push into, but I still find it quite fun. Something else that I guess you could say is both a positive and a negative is just how damn popular the map is. It is piss baby easy to find a game on this one, but at the same time that does kind of add to the fatigue of the map. Maybe that's an unfair thing to judge a map on, but I still feel like it's worth noting. It's for that reason and other reasons that I have to say this map is not an S tier. It's an A tier. It's easy to enjoy for sure, but there's so many more maps that I either know I'll enjoy more or would prefer to give a shot instead. And that's it. We did it. That's all the maps for 2008 ranked. I want to hear your opinions. Please please, I really do want to read this and promote this kind of discussion. If you would like to see more, there should be a video of me ranking every TF2 launch map that was released in 2007 on screen right now. And of course, if you have opinions on the later maps in the game, those should be discussed in due time. The public is eagerly awaiting my opinion on Slime. So if that's something that interests you, I'd love to see you back in the next few videos. Until then, stay safe out there.